People's biggest regrets about owning Airbnb can really vary. It all starts with a dream of wanting to own a vacation home that might put a little cash back in your pocket as well. But is it all cracked up to be what it's supposed to be? Let's go over the top 10 regrets that Airbnb hosts have. Stick around because I'm also going to tell you some of my favorite overlooked benefits of owning short-term rentals. All right, let's get right into it. So number 10 is maintenance and upkeep. The wear and tear of renting out short-term rentals is extraordinary. And for some reason, short-term guests really accelerate the wear and tear on properties compared to long-term rentals. I don't know what it is, but people just act differently when they rent a short-term rental. I have seen everything from doorknobs being pulled off of cabinets, flooring coming up, ceiling light covers broken, drain stops missing, kitchen counters breaking. The list of random stuff just keeps on going on. For a home that is rented out, say 60% of the year, it's incredible that pots and pans need to be replaced, towels and sheets also need to be replaced. Think about it. You live in your home 100% of the time, and how often are you replacing those items in your home? Beyond the wear and tear of these properties, there's also just basic maintenance that needs to be done, and that brings us to our number 9. The stress of hiring cleaners and maintenance people. Now, you may think that you just find someone on Google and call them, but the truth is, depending on where your property is, it's just not that simple. If your short-term rental is in a cool destination spot, there's a good chance that it is seasonal, which makes it really tough for cleaning companies to hire reliable people because it's such boom and bust. Long story short, during the peak times of the year, they are slam busy and just don't have enough employees. This creates problems with cleaners rushing through the job and missing some of the details that you've asked them to do maybe multiple times. Real basic stuff too, like you see a cobweb, knock it down, or remove the handprints off of the glass doors. Calling another company might be a choice, but the truth is, by the time this is happening, the other companies are probably already so busy in the season that they're probably not bringing on new clients. What I'm saying is having a good cleaning company is like gold, and the same goes with handyman. You never know when you need something fixed really quickly. And it kind of happens like this. Someone checks out at 11, your cleaners get there at noon, and they call you and they say something is broken, and you have until 4 p.m. to get somebody out there and fix it. Having great people on your team is really going to make a difference. While we're on the subject, you also need to put yard maintenance on your list, and you're going to want to make sure that you have somebody who's really detailed. While you don't directly employ any of these people, it's still up to you to schedule them, hold them to the standard, and pay them. This takes a lot of consistent communication that can come really at any time of the day. There's no panic like the panic you get when some of these people are not communicating with you. Number 8 on the list is income fluctuations. Airbnb income is really inconsistent, and the fluctuation is going to depend on a lot of factors such as seasonability, market demands, and competition. This is why Airbnb is now being called Airbnb bust. It is said that short-term rentals is down anywhere between 8 and 20% depending on the area. If you're looking to buy a home that's a short-term rental, take the years of the pandemic, like if you're looking at their income and bookings with a grain of salt. People are traveling a lot less now. Hosts may regret relying on Airbnb as a primary source of income without considering some of these fluctuations. Most hosts underestimate the time and effort required to maintain an Airbnb property. From cleaning between guests to addressing maintenance issues, the workload can be a lot more significant than what most people anticipate. I highly recommend you opening up a spare bank account for all of your rentals and don't touch any of the money for a year at the very least. This will give you time to see what the seasonability of your short-term rentals is. Number 7, dealing with guests and their reviews. They matter a lot more than what you think. While most guests are respectful and considerate, dealing with difficult guests who damage the property can be really challenging and stressful for most hosts. I have seen people lie to get a discount on their stay, And trust me, Airbnb will most likely lean on their side. You will get bad reviews because family were fighting on vacation or a guest was simply in a bad mood. The worst part about all of this is that this strongly affects your ratings on the platform. Not only does it affect your ratings, but it's also going to affect your superhost status. And when you lose your superhost status, your property is now being dropped on the list on these platforms, and so less people are seeing it and less people are booking it. So bad reviews reflect in the income that these properties will make. Beyond bad reviews, you also need to be consistently available for your guests. You can automate some communications, but you never know when a question is coming your way about how to use a remote or how to unlock a door. The short-term rental platforms also judge you on how fast you reply, so you've got to make sure that you're always in phone service. Number 6, legal and regulation issues. Navigating local regulation, zoning laws, tax requirements can be complex and time-consuming for Airbnb hosts. Violating these regulations can lead to fines or legal consequences. Here are a few legal items that you need to look out for. 1, the IRS. This is a business and you will pay taxes on the income you make. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. Number 2, state income tax. Luckily, Washington State doesn't have an income tax, so you don't need to worry about that. However, there will be local sales tax that need to be paid depending on where your short-term rental is in Washington. This will be anywhere from 7 to 10%. There's also a B&O tax, which is so complicated that you need a CPA to help you understand this. And there's also going to be lodging tax that will differ depending on your location. One other thing to mention about Washington State is there's a REIT tax. This is a tax you will pay on your home anytime that you sell, and it'll be between 1.1 and 3% depending on the price point of your home. Oh, and I should also mention that you're going to pay the IRS capital gains tax when you sell. This rate will depend on what income bracket you're at when you sell the home. This tax can be deferred, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Number 5 on the list is time commitment. Managing an Airbnb property requires ongoing time and attention, from coordinating bookings to addressing guest inquiries and other concerns. I would also want to mention that you've got to visit these properties from time to time. And you're probably thinking, well, that sounds like a lot of fun, until you get out there and you realize that you're spending your entire vacation doing maintenance to your Airbnb. Most hosts find that the time commitment exceeds their initial expectations. Number 4, privacy concerns. Some hosts may regret the loss of property that comes with renting out their property to strangers. Sharing living spaces or personal belongings with guests can feel kind of intrusive for some hosts. This can be especially true if you live on the same property as the rental. Some guests just don't have boundaries and they'll come knocking at your door any time of the night. Number 3, potential for damage or theft. Despite security measures, there's always a risk of property damage or theft when renting out your property to strangers. People will take things they like, and trust me, your cleaners won't notice, so billing them back is really tough to do. Don't keep anything that you have any sort of attachment to in the home that you're short-term renting. Now, broken items is a different story. Most people will tell you if they break something, and you can work through those details with the guests. Another risk is break-ins, and this is the worst nightmares for hosts, and it happens. Trust me, people are watching your house and they know it's a rental. I highly recommend having cameras on the exterior of your property. Number 2 is strain on relationships, and I'm talking about the nosy neighbor. Hosting an Airbnb can really impact the relationships with your neighbors, homeowners associations, or the co-owners of the property. It's hard to know if you're going to have problems with a neighbor when you're buying a short-term rental. Neighbors can really make or break the experience when owning an Airbnb. Try to make friends with them fast and exchange contact information. A good neighbor will keep an eye on your property for you and help you out. On the other hand, you could get the neighbor that is consistently a thorn in your side. Research the neighborhoods and the CC&Rs before you put in an offer on a property. You have enough to manage without bad neighbors. All right, and now we're at number 1, the emotional toll. Hosting an Airbnb property can be emotionally taxing, especially when dealing with difficult guests and unexpected challenges. This is the customer service business, and you need to have thick skin to deal with all of the ups and downs that come with it. If this didn't scare you away, here I'm going to tell you the overlooked benefits of owning an Airbnb. Although your cash flow and your bank account won't stack up fast, there is some major tax benefits that will speed up your overall wealth. A lot of short-term rentals perform at a loss on paper, and this is taking into fact the tax write-offs, the mortgage interest, the depreciation, operating expenses, travel costs, the list goes on. Talk with your CPA about this. Now, the loss from your short-term rental will also be transferred to your personal income, leaving you paying less taxes to the IRS at the end of the year. Remember, I'm not allowed to give financial advice, so please talk to your CPA about this idea. Not only that, you are also getting organic appreciation of the property. We'll say that's an average of 4% a year. Over the COVID years, that was closer to 20%. Some cases, adding cash flow to a property will also increase the value of it. When taking into account the tax deductions, the mortgage payoff, the appreciation, I calculate that short-term rentals have a much better return than a lot of other investments. Oh yeah, and here is the benefit to owning a short-term rental. You can sell the property without paying the IRS capital gains. It's called a 1031 exchange. You do have to upgrade to another property, and I can show you how to do that. I'm Amanda Dallman. If you're looking for a rental property in Washington State, my contact information is in the description below. Have a wonderful day.